Hello everyone, welcome to MVP Vishwakosha. Today we are discussing 8th August 2025 current affairs. In that first point, that is about India-Russia relationship, that is in that latest update that on Putin's visit to India. According to some report that India's national security advisor Ajit Doval stated that President Vladimir Putin is expected to visit India by the end of 2025, correcting earlier speculation about late August timing. So very important that preparation and some focus areas. This NSA, this dialogue between India and Russia have been underway, right? With Ajit Doval and his Russian counterpart Sergei Shoigu finalizing the plans, and also some key agenda item including expanding defense industry and cooperation, and also boosting counter-terrorism collaboration and all. Some that official invitation that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Putin spoke by phone on August 8, 2025. Modi invited Putin to New Delhi later this year for the 23rd India-Russia annual summit, and also reinforcing their special and privileged strategic partnership, and also discussing Ukraine's development and all. And also for exam perspective, this India-Russia relationship is very important, and that Russian President Vladimir Putin and his invitation for the 23rd India-Russia annual summit in India. That 23rd India-Russia annual summit is important, and also he's expecting to come at the end of 2025. Okay, and also it is very important that it would mark Putin's first visit to India since December 2021 when the Ukraine war begins. Okay, for mains perspective, this strategic continuity, that visit underscores continuity in the special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia. Okay, and also in context of global pressures occurs amid growing US pressure and recent tariff up to 50% imposed by President Trump. Okay, on India's export due to Russian oil import, all that it is very important, and also India's policy underscores strategic autonomy, and also geopolitical implications that strengthen India's ties with Russia and balancing growing tension with the USA also. Okay, very important. That is recent news that India and Russia relationship and Putin's visit to India. Next is news that is about Hiroshima's 80th anniversary. Okay, that on August 6th, 2025, Hiroshima held 80th Peace Memorial Ceremony at Peace Memorial Park. Over 55,000 people, including representative from around 120 countries, okay, observed a moment of silence at 8:50 a.m. The exact time of bombing and released those in tribute. Okay, some of the voice and survivors with the number of surviving in that area, and also appeals for disarmament and legacy and peace advancement. That Nobel Peace Prize winning survivors group, all that, and also global dialogue, and also that poignant story of intergenerational reconciliation emerged. Okay, and also for exam perspective, that 80th anniversary of US atomic bombing Hiroshima 1995 is very important. So that August 6th, 2025, and also that Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay, it's also important, and also marks the first use of a nuclear weapon warfare, or like 40,000 perished in the last impact on the memory and policy. Okay, all this nuclear disarmament and ethical imperative and memory and moral authority and global governance, geopolitical context and generation legacy are important. Next point, that is about latest, that is Israel Prime Minister's statement that is on amid that US that on India's tariff tension. Okay, that Israel PM Benjamin Netanyahu offered to provide private advice to Indian PM Narendra Modi on handling US President Trump's imposition of steep tariffs on Indian exports. Also now at an aggregate 50%, while calling both leaders terrific friends and urging a mutual resolution. Okay, and also emphasis on bilateral friendship. That Netanyahu reiterated that the US and India relationship is very solid, and described the two nations as terrific friends with no so much common ground, and also expressing confidence that a resolution is possible and beneficial for Israel as well. Okay, exam perspective, that Israel Benjamin Netanyahu and his offered a diplomatic advice to India okay, amid high US tariff, and also highlights Israel's supportive alignment with India, and also occurred while US imposed escalating tariff now at 50%. Okay, strategically, diplomacy and solidarity is important, and soft power and bilateral leverage, and implication for global order and domestic stakes sovereignty are now very important. Next point, that is about reservation of seats for scheduled tribes in Goa. Okay, that Lok Sabha passage of this reservation bill, that is August 6th, 2025. You know, right? So that readjustment of representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constitutions of state of Goa bill 2025, enabling provision for reserving seats for Goa ST community in the state assembly. This marks a significant step towards inclusive political representation. And also this timeline, that implementation, that some legal expert caution that although the bill is now a law, it will not be operational before the next deliberation exercise. It is expected to occur the first census post to 2026, likely around 2031. So therefore, ST reservation seats may become functional only by 2032 or even 2037. Okay, recent that passage of bill that for ST reservation in Goa legislation assembly. Okay, and also requires a delimitation based on post 2026 census data, and also delaying implementation until early 2030s. And first time ST will legally have reserved seats in Goa, and also a long-standing demand reflecting population shift and inclusion. Also in exam perspective, that social justice and political representation and constitutional process and federal dynamics, that is article 332 mandates that is AST reservation in legislative assembly actually deliver depends on meticulous procedural implementation. Okay, and also policy versus reality, that implementation lags, and the role of advocacy and civil society. Okay, that is about recent news in Goa. Okay, reservation for ST community. Okay, next news that is about that is new lightning record. That is the 829 kilometer mega flash. Okay, that is a single lighting flash known as mega flash that spanned 829 kilometer. That is 515 miles from eastern Texas to near Kansas City, Missouri, in October 2022. Okay, so this is a new record. This mega slash surpasses the previous record, that is 768 kilometer, set in April 2020. So how it is found, that is a real analysis of data from NOAA's GOES 16 satellite lightning mapper uncovered a new record. Scientific documentation that event is officially certified by WMS Committee on Weather and Climate Extremes, with findings published in the Bulletin of American Meteorological Society. Okay, all this that the certify the mega flash lighting record is very important. It certifies, the WMO certifies that lightning, and also that advance in observation technologies. That certification showcase how modern satellite technology enable detection of rare weather phenomena that are previously unrecorded. Also improved monitoring, strengthen efforts like early warning of all initiatives by WMO. Also geoclimatic significance and multi-hazardous implications and broader policy relevance. Okay, very important. Next point, that is about recent news, that is China's support for India amid escalating US tariff. That is after that US imposed a steep 50% tariff on Indian goods, citing India's import of Russian oil. China strongly criticized the move as a tariff abuse. The Chinese Foreign Ministry labeled it as a misuse of power and violation of WTO norms, signaling solidarity with India. And also wider trade war implication. The Trump administration broader tariff measures up to 100% for certain sector like semiconductor have heightened global trade tensions. Observers note possible BRICS unite emerging in response to US pressures. And also India-US trade talks suspended. Also President Trump has put a hold on the trade negotiations. Okay, so that China supported India, criticized the US tariff on India and tariff abuse. And also the statement was made early August 2025 following the Trump's tariff imposition. Okay, because it is matters because India received a diplomatic backing by from a key neighbor, right, amid economic pressure from Washington. So strategic multilateralism and diplomatic signaling and global norms and India's autonomy on non-alignment and policy domestic impact, it is very important. And also the tariff pressure highlights the need for that is export diversification, that is manufacturing acceleration, that is example China plus one policy, and domestic resilience and amid geopolitical turbulence. Okay, that is about recent news. Next news, that is about Bharat Gen AI initiative covering India's 22 scheduled language. Okay, that is recent development. That is Bharat Gen AI and the 22 scheduled language initiative is launched on that uh, June. Okay, that is an India's first government-funded indigenous multi-modal large language model. Okay, aimed at serving Indian language, designed under the National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems and implemented by IIT Bombay, and its process text, speech, and image input across Indian languages, and also roadmap for language coverage. Currently, Bharat Gen supports 9 scheduled languages, that is Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Malayalam, Bengali, Punjab, Gujarati, Telugu, Kannada. So the government has committed to expanding this to 15 languages by December 2025, including Assamese, Maithili, Nepali, Odia, Sanskrit, Sindhi, and full coverage of all scheduled languages by June 2026. So the application in this sector, that BharatJan is currently piloted domain of agriculture, governance, and defense, with plans for nationwide deployment across the states and districts once fully operational. Okay. Exam perspective, for prelims perspective and all this, BharatJan as a government-backed multimodal AI initiative, actually launched in June 2025. The strategic target expanding from 9 languages to 15 by December 2025 and all by 22 languages by June 2026. So main purpose is to enhance inclusion through AI across healthcare, education, agriculture, and governance. So for a mains perspective, it is very important that technological sovereignty and inclusive governance, that is Atmanirbhar AI, and also bridging digital divide, multidisciplinary and policy synergy, and public service enhancement. Okay, it is about recent news, Bharat Gen. Next, that is Armenia's interest in purchasing Sukhoi 30 Mk one fighter jet from India. Okay, that Armenia is in high level negotiations with India to potentially acquire Sukhoi 30 Mk one that is a fighter jet as a strategic response to Azerbaijan's $4.6 billion deal for 40 JF-17 Block 3 jets from Pakistan. So the Sukhoi 30 Mk1 is an indigenously upgraded variant of Russia's Sukhoi 30, developed joint by HAL and DRDO, is valid for its long-range strike capacity and integration with advanced Indian systems like Astra air-to-air missiles and BrahMos cruise missile. And also prior to these talks, Armenia had already begun exploring the modernization of its Sukhoi 30 SM fleet, involving avionics, electronic warfare suits, and weapons integration with India's HAL, and that's also in discussion. Okay, so this move aligns with Armenia's broader strategy to diversify its defense procurement beyond its traditional reliance on Russia, especially after experiencing delivering and capability issue during prior conflicts. Okay, so that is Armenia negotiating acquisition of India's Sukhoi 30 Mk jets is modernizing. Okay, very important, and to counter Azerbaijan. Okay, that in the prelims also, that question already asked. Okay, about that conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and strategic important reflects evolving India-Armenia defense cooperation. All that important, and also strategic autonomy and realignment, India's growing global role, and tech transfer and indigenous capacity, and implications of regional balance. Okay. Next news, that is about Software Technology Park of India. That is a recent development, that surge in domestic investment. In recent statement, that STPA's Director General Arvind Kumar highlighted significant rise in domestic capital inflows, okay, into the startup ecosystem compared to the COVID period. So this uptick underscores increasing investor confidence in homegrown tech ventures, and also that expansion milestone 34 years strong. That is June-July 2025, STPA has celebrated 34 years of operations, now spanning 67 centers across India. And also it supported 24 domain-specific centers of entrepreneurship and facilitate an impressive 10 lakh crore IT export. And also that new partnership of capacity building, that STPA has entered into a MOU with the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, and to bolster the capacity building champion advocacy initiative and boost research outreach. Okay, very important, that is software technology that park of India. So STPI is witnessing a surge in domestic investment of startup logged 10 lakh crore in export, operates 67 centers and 24 COEs as of mid 2025, and it is 34th anniversary and reflects STPI's escalating role in India. Also that institutional strengthening, startup ecosystem maturation and policy intervention and capacity building, export leadership, it is very important. Okay. Next is about environmental DNA, that is eDNA sampling and detection process. Okay, that is recent development that scientists in the UK have made a breakthrough by conducting first national biodiversity survey using airborne eDNA captured via air pollution filters. So originally developed to track toxic particles, these filters unexpected collected DNA traces, skin, hair, and saliva from over 1,100 species, including moths, hedgehogs, invasive species, and crop pathogens. The sample spanned urban and rural sites, detecting biodiversity across radius of 19 kilometers. So, this Mindiro IUCN eDNA initiative for conservation is a collaboration with IUCN, launched a program using eDNA to accelerate species assessments for the IUCN Red List over the next year. The initiative will evaluate more than 600 marine fish species from Australia and New Zealand using eDNA to enhance extinction risk data and improve conservation outcomes. Okay, so this UNESCO's and Mindiro scaling up to eDNA for marine reserves very important, and also for this use of environmental DNA from air filters and marine water samples to monitor biodiversity, and UK and Australia, New Zealand, all global marine world heritage sites, UNESCO, and some of the key contribution eDNA identified 1,100 plus species in UK, IUCN and Meandro advancing species assessment. So UNESCO powering citizen science and across marine resource. Okay, very important for that mains perspective, non-invasive monitoring and biodiversity, citizen science, public engagement, and data-driven conservation policy and technological convergence, ocean and land integration. Okay. For prelims and mains interview perspective, it is very important. That is about recent news. That is environmental DNA. Okay. That is about 8th August 2025 current affairs. Thank you. Support me for further videos so that I can analyze all the topics required for UPSC and all competitive exams. Thank you.